Good evening, everyone. My name is Simba. I'm going to be taking you for this tutorial in preparation for assignment part. All right, or the assignment. All right. So just I know you have done economics before, since you are doing microeconomics now. Most of you have done macroeconomics. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the slides quickly. Then after that, we're going to move on to looking at the assignment itself. All right, so it is important for you to be able to define what economics is. So when you look at economics, we are basically dealing with the fact that we have scarcity of resources, right, versus the fact that our wants and our needs are unlimited. So what you need to do there is to be able to prioritize. Right? You need to make choices as an economy, as a household, as a firm, as an individual. Right. So economics is basically grounded on the fact that our resources, which is our profit of production, are scarce. So it is important to be able to define opportunity cost, to be able to define what choices, to be able to define what scarcity is. But for us to do that, we normally use the PPC, which we are going to deal with as we proceed. All right, we're going to distinguish between microeconomics and macroeconomics, distinguish between the four main factors of production. All right. So without wasting much time, I'm going to go on to the production possibilities curve. When you look at the production possibilities curve, what is important is for you to be able to understand the definition of the PPC. So when you look at the PPC, the definition is what makes up the PPC there. We are saying a PPC, or a production possibility curve, is a curve that shows us a combination of two goods that can be produced in a society if they are using their resources fully and efficiently. So if you look at the diagram that I have on this slide, we have potatoes that are on the vertical axis, and we have fish that is on the horizontal axis. Then we have those points there, point A, point B, point C, point D, E, and F. All those points are the combination of the two goods that we have in this community, that are being produced in this community. Right. So what you need to take note of there is it is an assumption that we are making, that our society is only producing two goods. But you're also going to find that in reality, we produce many goods. We just don't produce one good. But it's an assumption so that we are able to simplify our reality. So in economics, we make a lot of assumptions. Right. So point A is a combination which shows us that we are only producing one product, which is potatoes, and none of the fish. Another extreme point is point F, which again shows that we are using all our resources to only produce fish and none of the potatoes. But all points that are on the PPC shows us combinations that are efficient and attainable. So using the resources that we have, we can be able to produce at all the points. Right. So in the short run, this is the best that we can do with the given resources that we have. This is the maximum that is attainable. Right. But we also have points. Any point that is inside the PPC, it is attainable, but it is inefficient, or it shows unemployment of resources, because we are saying we could do better by moving outwards towards the PPC. Right. If you have another point, that is point G, which is to the right of the PPC, that point is unattainable because it means that given the resources that we have, we cannot reach that point, even though it is a superior point. Our resources will not allow us to reach to point G. So point G illustrates the scarcity of resources, which is the problem that society has to deal with. If you look at the PPC there, we can use the PPC to basically look at our three central economic concepts, which is scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. Right. So point G illustrates scarcity because our resources will not allow us to reach that point. Right. Then opportunity cost can also be illustrated on the PPC by moving from one point to the other. If we are going to move from point A to point B, it means that we have to give up something, right? We have to sacrifice some resources from the production of potatoes to the production of fish, right? Because those resources are limited. We cannot have more fish without sacrificing any potatoes. So moving from one point to the other, already the concept of opportunity cost is coming up. Remember, we say opportunity cost is the value of an alternative that could have been taken but was not taken. So if you're moving from point A to point B, the opportunity cost will be the 5 kgs of potatoes that we are going to sacrifice, which is the difference between 100 and 95. Again, moving, let's say, for argument's sake, moving from point B to point D, the opportunity cost will be the difference between 95 and 70, which is 25 kgs of potatoes that we are sacrificing. You can also look at your opportunity cost starting maybe from point F to point D. Moving from point F to point D, the opportunity cost would be the 2 baskets of fish that you are going to sacrifice for you to attain 70 kgs of potatoes. Right. So that is basically opportunity cost. Then when you look at choice, you're simply saying choice comes about as a result of people making a choice. Either they want more potatoes, they can be on point A or point B. If they want more fish, maybe they're on point F or point B. Right. So that is it about the PPC. So in the short run, this is the best that we can do. Right. But as you proceed, so that is just a summary there. So we are saying all attainable combinations are points that are on the PPC. Unattainable combinations are points that are beyond the PPC. All efficient combinations are points on the PPC. Inefficient combinations or unemployment are all points inside the PPC. Right. We want to look at increase in potential output, right? Shifts in the PPC. In the long run, things might change. You might discover that you now have more resources, your productivity can increase, your workers can become better skilled, or you can discover a new resource system. All right. So how does that affect us? So as you move on, right, so we can have, let's say there's an improved technique. On this PPC, you can see there we have 2 goods, consumer goods and capital goods. So if there's an improvement in the production technique for consumer goods, you can see that our PPC is going to shift from AB to PPC AC, which shows that there's an increase in the production of capital goods with the production of consumer goods remaining the same. So these are changes that can occur in the PPC as time progresses. Right? Or it can be the consumer goods that are increasing whilst the production of capital goods remains the same. Let us say the workers become better skilled in the production of consumer goods. Our PPC is going to shift from PPC BA to PPC BB. Right? So that is another change that could also happen. Right? Or what could happen there is we have a situation whereby you have both products increasing. Remember, our PPC in this case, our economy is represented by 2 goods. So if you have a situation whereby both goods are increasing, already that means that you are having economic growth. If you are asked to illustrate economic growth on the PPC, you are having a shift in both goods. So if the PPC shifts from PPC AB to PPC EF, it means that is already economic growth because our total goods and services in the economy are increasing, which is basically what economic growth is all about. Right. So it is very important for you to understand the PPC. We'll come back to it as when we look at the assignment. Right. Then you move on there, you look at our 4 factors of production. Basically, we have our natural resources. Right. If you look at our assignment again, we have a where we're going to look at the 4 factors of production. So the natural resources are basically the free gifts of nature, which can become extinct if we overexploit them. Right. When you look at these factors of production, it is important for you to look at both the quality of these resources as well as their quantity as well, because it is going to determine the quantity of goods and services as well as the quality that you're going to produce. So when you look at natural resources, the income that accrues or the remuneration that is associated with natural resources is earned. Then the second factor of production, there is labor, which is basically the human, mental, and physical effort that goes into the production of goods and services. So when you look at labor there, we again the quantity of the labor, which is determined by your population size as well as the quality in terms of the qualifications, skills that people have, and so forth. It is also important because it determines how much you're going to be able to produce. So labor there, the remuneration is basically salaries and wages. Then you move on, you look at our third factor of production, which is capital. Right. When you look at capital there, we are saying these are all man-made resources that we use in the production of goods and services. These are resources that accumulate depreciation over time. Right. If you are not using these resources, they are going to, if you, in the act of using these resources, they are going to accumulate some depreciation. Or so you're going to have.
Is it okay with you though?
No, it's fine.
If it's not okay with you,
No.
I'll
So you can cancel it.
Yes.